The final era of Japanese internal combustion engine sports cars could be upon us. And if we go over to Best Car Web, the best source for upcoming Japanese cars, they have a list of 6 sports cars that will be released, or at least potentially released, next year. An updated Supra, GR86, Prelude. We got a lot to talk about today, and if you're excited, smash the heck out of that like button. Make sure you are subscribed, because when we get new developing information on these revised or completely new sports cars, you need to be locked into the channel. So make sure you subscribe, hit that bell icon. All right, first on the docket is a new GR86 and BRZ already. Now, Toyota's development initiative leads to dramatic changes in the front engine rear-wheel drive coupes, like the GR86 and the BRZ. The new Toyobaru brothers are reborn under Toyota's leadership and development. In the past, it's been Subaru's lead in development, and they build it in the Gunma plant. Okay, they make a Toyota sports car with the boxer engine, right? It has Toyota's D4S direct injection technology, but it is a boxer engine, and it's made at Subaru's Gunma plant. But now the ball's in Toyota's court, and I think a lot of people are going to be excited about that. You know, some people don't like the boxer engine, even though its low center of gravity is great. Some people just aren't sold on the reliability of it, and I get that. But they're saying the 1.6-liter inline-3 turbo that we have in the GR Yaris, here in the States we have it in the GR Corolla, they're saying it's getting a single motor hybrid with 304 horsepower. Here's the thing. This engine by itself already makes 300 horsepower. Are they going to detune it and put a, let's say it's a 50 horsepower electric motor in here? Now, they're also saying the body's been slightly enlarged to upgrade the class. Are you going to have seats in the back? I highly doubt that there would be a 2+2 situation going on. But it is bigger, there's no doubt. And these are just projections. The car's not going to look like this, I don't believe. Sometimes Best Car is right on, like smack dab perfect with the renders. This render we're looking at here is just a complete guess. It's going to be front engine, rear wheel drive. It's going to be a hybrid. That's what they're saying anyways. And it's going to have 300 horsepower. What are my thoughts? When you have this much performance, you would think from, what is it, at 228 horsepower right now, you're adding 75 horsepower roughly. Is that sort of performance going to lead to really expensive entry prices? Possibly. There's no other Toyota in the lineup that I'm aware of that has this hybrid setup. The closest thing would be from the F platform. So if you look at the Tacoma hybrid, it's got a single motor between the turbo 4-cylinder and the 8-speed auto. Here it would be a turbo 3-cylinder, you'd have an electric motor, then a new 8-speed automatic would be my guess. Could we see a manual here? There's a possibility we could see a manual hybrid, but the chances are very slim. So I'm just trying to fill in as best as possible the little information here that Best Car Web is saying. But we should have an official reveal by the end of 2025 with this model. I mean, currently the BRZ starts at $31,000. If you add hybridization to it, my guess would be it starts at $35,000 US. And maybe they just have 2 trim levels to keep it simple, $35,000, $38,000. But there's no way it doesn't get more expensive. You're adding a turbocharger. You're adding a hybrid technology. You're adding a battery. You're adding an electric motor. So all these things would add up to be a very expensive vehicle. Am I buying this? Is this 100% gospel? And the answer is no. Best Car sometimes misleads its viewers, or should I say its viewers, because they do have a YouTube channel, but their readers, so they have to seem somewhat credible. If they're spot on about everything, I don't think the manufacturers would let them get away with it. Yeah, I'll see you guys down below on this one. I'm not completely sold on the new RZ86. We need to keep reading. The Honda Prelude, it's coming back. It's very exciting. This was debuted when I was in Japan at the Japan Mobility Show, and it's gorgeous. And I saw it again at the LA Auto Show. It's really beautiful. Now, some people say, hey, it looks like a Prius up front, or they'll say it looks like a Porsche in the back. I think those are compliments. I think those are both good looking cars, obviously. But yeah, Honda doesn't have any coupes in their lineup. Acura has no coupes in their lineup. I have a lot of questions about this vehicle. Okay, they're saying it will have seats in the back, and they're saying it's going to be a 2-liter hybrid. Okay, the 2-liter has 200 horsepower and 240 pound-feet of torque or so, depending on its application. And it's eCVT only. It's not a performance powertrain. It's an efficiency powertrain, and it's a luxury powertrain with how refined and smooth and quiet it is. It is not a powertrain fit for a Prelude that has had VTECs in the past, that's had 4-wheel steering in the past. I am not sold on this. Is it likely to be a hybrid? And I think the answer is yes. And if it doesn't have a manual like the CRZ as well as the first generation Prelude hybrids, it's hard for me to get excited about this, because even though it's gorgeous, this hybrid powertrain, it's a really good torquey powertrain for normal cars. It's not a performance powertrain whatsoever, in my opinion. And they're not going to add a plug-in hybrid to it to make it a little bit more zippy, a little bit more fun. And it would also add a lot of weight and cost if they did that too. What would I want from this? 1.5 turbo or a 2-liter turbo with a manual transmission. Make this the coupe of the Type R, the coupe of the Integra Type S. I think that's what enthusiasts want, and they would be losing their minds. I don't think enthusiasts want a eCVT hybrid with 200 horsepower with a design that looks this good. Time will tell, though, and I'll see you guys down below what you want on the new Prelude. Things are getting exciting for Lexus. The alluring elegance of the LC plus RC is being integrated into one coupe. RC is long in the tooth. It's been out for, I don't know, gosh, when did the RC come out? 2014, something like that. And the LC came out in 2017. Both of them are going to be retired in the next 2 years. All right. And in many markets, they are already retired, the LC and the RC. So they need to have something to replace either one of those, and they will be doing it with a single model here. I would like for them to call it the SC, bring the SC nomenclature back. The first generation SC was essentially a Supra, which we don't really have a Supra made from Toyota anymore. We'll talk about the Supra here in a little bit. But this is essentially Toyota's Supra right now, or it will be when it comes out. We're not going to have an inline 6, but they're saying it's going to have a twin-turbo V6, which I know a lot of you aren't excited for because it's on recall on the Tundra and the LX. And it will have single-motor hybrid technology like the potential next-generation GR86. All right. Now, they're also saying it could be a full-on battery electric to stand alongside of the hybridized twin-turbo V6. Here's the thing. I don't care too much for BEV right now. I think Lexus should wait for a BEV coupe until they have solid-state batteries. They do really well with hybrids. Twin-turbo V6 hybrid, we have this already. Look at the Sequoia and the Tundra hybrids. This powertrain has 437 horsepower and 583 pound-feet of torque if they spec it the same as that we see on those truck platforms. I mean, that amount of torque is amazing, and it would be a ton in a little coupe like this. To keep the weight down, they wouldn't use that nickel metal hydride battery that's super heavy. They would shrink it down into a smaller lithium-ion battery, somewhere around 1 kilowatt hour would be my guess. Despite these massive numbers, this vehicle will be really, really heavy, even with a smaller battery. So instead, what I would like to see, and which could very well happen, is the new inline 4 turbo technology that Toyota just showed off a few weeks back alongside of Mazda and Subaru. These inline 4, well, at least the 2-liter inline 4 is able to output 400 horsepower. So why would you need the twin turbo V6 here that is, dubious with its reliability, and it is super heavy? Put the super high output 2-liter turbo in there, then you can electrify it, and we're going to have around the same horsepower as a twin turbo V6, but way less weight. All right, that's what I would like to see here. Rest in peace 5-liter V8 from the LC. Try to get one while you can, but they're so expensive even on the used market because it's essentially a perfect car for what it is. It's one of my favorite cars of all time. But they're saying this is going to be more like the LC in terms of dimensions. It's not going to be, in theory, as fun to drive as the RC, which is pretty compact. And the LC, although it's fun to drive, it's long wheelbase. It's more like a boat. All right, it doesn't handle the same. It's more of a Grand Tourer. So this thing is going to be somewhere in between the two, bridge the gap. And I'm interested in the hybrid powertrain, but I really hope it's not twin turbo V6. Well, time will tell though. Hope it's that 2-liter high output turbo. And I don't care about the battery electric at this point in time. All right, so moving on. What about the new Supra that will be refreshed in 2025 or so? Here we go. They're sticking with BMW, and we do have new styling. It's more of a retro styling, and this is not what it's going to look like. Again, Best Car is just taking a stab at it. I would be happy to get rid of all the fake vents, the swoops, the cuts that is in the current Supra. I don't mind the Supra so much from behind. It just looks a little off from the front. And it doesn't look as good as, of course, most vehicles don't unless you're the LC500. It doesn't look as good as the concept that preceded it, the Supra. So what they're saying is that the inline six is now going to be a mild hybrid. Mild hybrids actually, they give you a little bit better efficiency, obviously. They can stop the engine and start it back up pretty smoothly with a motor generator setup. The thing is, it adds weight because now you have a 48-volt hybrid battery in there. So it probably adds 20, 30 pounds, I would say, overall. But we will get at least maybe 15, 20 more horsepower from the little motor generator in here. So it is what it is. And I know a lot of people are not going to be excited about it. Will this eat into manual? It's a possibility we might not have a manual on the new Supra because it is mild hybrid only. Now, initially it's mild hybrid only, but then they're saying it will have a battery electric version. Again, don't know how to feel about that. I could care less, to be honest. I don't care about a battery electric Supra right now. I don't care about a battery electric LC-RC. Let's just call it the SC. And with the GR86 going up so much in power, what would be the point of a 2-liter Supra? So my feeling is that they're going to kill the 2-liter Supra. This is going to be, maybe they have a base 3-cylinder turbo. Who knows? But they're saying it will be a hybrid. So I just don't see the 2-liter Supra sticking around if this is going to be upgraded so much. And I don't think, the take rate on the 2-liter Supra has to be quite low anyways. All right, we've talked about Honda. We talked about Toyota. Toyota being the main one bringing performance cars in 2025 from Japan. No mention on Mazda in this article, unfortunately. We would all love to see a new RX-7 or something with a rotary engine or the iconic SP brought into production. But I think we're going to have to wait to 2026 or 2027 for that vehicle to come. They're saying that the Skyline will be coming as a battery electric luxury sedan. Now, this has been on the rumor mill for a couple of years now. I don't think it's coming in 2026 or 2025 even. This vehicle is supposed to be, at least for our market anyways, in theory, they could make it in Japan and import it into the United States. Like the current Skyline is the Infiniti Q50, right? That's a possibility. But it seems like in order to qualify for the EV tax credit, the next Q50, which is a Skyline, would be built in the Canton, Mississippi plant as a battery electric. But that keeps getting pushed back. It was going to be 2026. Now it's 2027 or 2028. They don't even have an actual timeline. They have no plans for it. It's kind of a mess right now for Nissan and this vehicle. They're saying it will have a fastback design. There will be an SUV version, which will be also an Infiniti of some sort here in the United States, more than likely. Now, Nissan will also be building Nissan branded versions of these cars in Canton, Mississippi as well, which will have different styling, lesser materials, won't be quite as beefed up with the motors in theory too. But this, I feel like out of all the vehicles we're talking about today, this one is by far the most likely to not make it into 2025. In fact, it might not even make it into 2027, the new Skylines. I would love to be wrong. I'd love for them to bring it as soon as possible, as long as it's ready. We're going to keep moving, and here is the last vehicle. This is the replacement of the LFA that was discontinued in 2012. It only had a 2 or 3 model year reign, 2010, 2011, 2012. Could be wrong. It might have only been 2011, 2012. Anyways, the LFA had the screaming V10 that was also tuned by Yamaha, and that vehicle is worth over $1 million on the used market, right? This vehicle will never have that sort of iconic status with no V10, but they're saying, even though that the LC is killing the V8, the 5-liter V8, this will be a hybrid twin-turbo V8 4-liter. And this has been making its rounds at race courses all around the world. I think it was last seen in France. It's been seen around the Nürburgring. It's been seen here in Florida at Sebring. As camouflaged, of course. We don't have the official uncamouflaged design, except for the initial concept images that we saw at the beginning of, what was it, 2022? At the Tokyo Auto Salon, if I remember right. And it will be a Lexus. Could there be racing versions that are the Toyota GT3? I guess so, but I know 100% it will be available as a Lexus here in the United States. All right, so we could have 2 new coupes, the LFA2, which is more than likely going to be called the LFR, and this vehicle, which I'm going to call the SC. So 2 new coupes for Lexus, and coupes aren't selling well right now, but they're going big, they're going hard. There were only 500 units of the original LFA. We're going to have a much higher volume here, and it's not going to be nearly as expensive. The LFA was what, $375,000 for the non-Nürburgring, which was only 50 Nürburgrings, right? This is probably going to be $150K starting. I mean, it's got to compete against the AMG GT, right? Which starts at around $136,000. I mean, the AMG GT 55 anyways has about 470 horsepower from its 4-liter twin-turbo V8. And then if you want the GT63, we get nearly 600 horsepower from it. And that will cost starting $177K. So I think of the Lexus model starting around the same and then topping off maybe around $200,000 as well. Fingers crossed that they have a convertible version too to kind of replace the LC convertible. Honestly, this is a car I am most excited for. This is the last hurrah for Lexus and the V8. And it's too bad. I honestly don't think we'll see the V8 in any other Lexus car unless they come out with an SCF or something like that, or RCF successor with this vehicle and stick the V8 in here. That would be sick. The LS absolutely deserves a twin-turbo V8. They never got it, and they might kill the LS before they are able to put the V8 back into it. And then they don't have any performance rear-wheel drive SUVs, Lexus, to stick the twin-turbo V8 into either. But out of all the cars today, the LFR is the car that I'm most excited about. Let me know which you are most excited about. Skyline's going to be delayed almost positively. The Supra, I'm excited to see the new styling on it. Mild hybrid, we'll see. Hopefully we can keep the manual. This car, second most excited about. You guys know how passionate I am, and I've always been for Lexus. Can't wait to see what they can do with this to kind of follow in the footsteps of the LC and the RC. And let's see here. The Prelude, love the design. Give us a powertrain worthy of a high-performance Honda Acura Coupe, and I will be extraordinarily happy at that point. GRZ, actually the GRZ, the GR86 and the BRZ, probably the least excited for out of all the cars on this list today, besides the Skyline. I could care less for that. Rest in peace, Nissan GTR, by the way. Rest in peace, Skyline. And I can't wait to see what you have to say about these Japanese performance cars that are coming potentially by the end of next year. Have a great day. Take care of yourselves, and peace.